What's up YouTube, it's your boy the Ol Drunken Geek, and today I'm gonna review for you guys Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Last night I went to watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I was happily surprised because I didn't think this movie was gonna be trash, but I thought it was gonna be just another animated movie or whatever. But man, was I happily surprised. The animation, to start off this review, just let me talk about the animation for a little bit, because it was a combination of 3D and 2D. It was obviously, you know, that CG animation, that computer generated style, but it was its own, such a unique style. The 2D, 3D-ish part of it made it feel like a comic book. It made it feel like you were reading a comic book in super speed. At no moment were you bored. It's just like boom, boom, boom. The colors pop, they're all crazy. And it had things from the comic book, like sometimes it felt like comic book panels. They had thought bubbles. It really felt like a comic book come to life in a way. Also, this type of animation was really good at humanizing the characters. It almost felt like a Pixar movie in the way that you got detail in the characters' faces and their expressions and stuff like that. The characters seem realistic. They seem like real people, more so than in most Spider-Man movies, to be honest. In most Spider-Man movies, I'm aware that I'm watching a movie. And it's crazy that in this version, it's the most realistic while being the most surreal at the same time. It's a weird combination that shouldn't work, but it does. All the characters act like real humans. They talk like real people, like that I know. Like, that's how you talk. You talk slick, you talk back. It's none of this like grand pontificating that like you get in Spider-Man movies. It's like, oh, you talk, I talk. This is how normal people talk. We're having a normal moment. And it's weird, and all the heartfelt scenes feel earned and real because they put in the groundwork. Their world feels real. All that to say this, the animation is the reason that this movie worked, because this movie has, from a script perspective, it has a lot to do. It introduces the character of Miles Morales and it gets you really into that character. What Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the Sam Raimi trilogy, what those movies did for Peter Parker, the beginning of this movie does very effectively for Miles Morales, and you find out about him, who he is, his neighborhood, his parents, his family. You get everything that those characters are about and their motivations and their relationships, and it's perfectly expressed through this form of animation. Like I said, the animation is really what carries this movie to a finish line. Furthermore than that, besides just introducing Miles Morales as a character, it kind of introduces the Spider-Verse. So like, it introduces this franchise as a whole. Like I said, this movie has a lot to do, and because of the animation, it's able to do it in a very proficient way. So if you didn't know, you're introduced to several Spider-Men from different universes. That's in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. But every time we introduce a new Spider-Man, they give a little bit of his backstory. And the way they do it is very efficiently. Like, the movie pauses for a little bit just to tell you who that is, and boom, we carry on with the movie. And like I said, the movie is about Miles Morales, but it does a good job at sharing the spotlight with all the other iterations of Spider-Man and Spider-Women. So the villain, Kingpin, you get a really good understanding of what his motivation is. And again, it's explained quick, fast, and in a hurry, but it works, man, it works. All the characters get their due in this movie, while not keeping your eyes off of Miles Morales and his story, and his connecting characters, which are his family, and you know, the people at school and stuff like that. It's a great introduction, not only to the character Miles Morales, but to the running through of how somebody gets powers, an introduction to a Spider-Man. Like I said, we're all familiar with how Peter Parker gets his powers, and this movie has a version of that. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of spoilerish territory, so if you don't want to watch that, go ahead and just drop my like down there, and yeah, carry on with your day. This movie took a lot of chances. It has more death than any of the other Spider-Man movies, and those deaths mean something. You know, normally it's just Uncle Ben, but in this one, we kind of get that version of that. I'm not gonna super spoil it for everybody, but this movie has its versions of that because it's several deaths, and they all matter. They all affect the characters, or the character, really. Let's talk about the action, especially the third act, which is supposed to be in a superhero movie, the action act. This is where all the action is packed into. In this movie, you know, you get some scattered action, but like the fighting part of it all is really at the end, the best stuff. And the visuals are really good because you get into like universes glitching into each other and you get into like crazy pants animation, but it all works. Like I said, the motivations for the character works. So at the end, they're all paid off. The action and how the movie ends leaves it open-ended, obviously for more sequels, which we will see. So hopefully we'll get another sequel featuring Miles Morales, obviously. And hopefully another sequel with Spider-Gwen. I think that would be really cool. They laid down a lot of groundwork for that character, so I hope that we see her again. At least in any of the sequels. So yeah, man, not much more to say than that. I highly recommend this movie. I stopped giving movies like a number review, but I gotta say, man, this is 5 shots out of 5. This is top-notch Spider-Man. I would say, like I said earlier in the review, this is even better, in my opinion, than Homecoming. And I've only seen it once. I'm gonna watch it a couple more times. Just as a knee-jerk reaction to it, I had a lot more fun watching this movie than I did Homecoming. And I empathized more with Miles in this movie than I did with Peter in the Homecoming movie. As far as the Raimi movies, Spider-Man 2 and the first Spider-Man Raimi movie are my favorites. And to be honest, on my list, this movie is wrestling with Spider-Man 1 for that 2 spot. Spider-Man 2 is still like the best Spider-Man movie to date in my opinion, but this movie is up there. It's up there with my top favorite Spider-Man movies, so I'm really happy about that. If you guys are really into end credit sequences, stay till like the very last. There's an end credit sequence which, spoiler alert, is just like a tribute to Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, which seems fitting, you know, we just lost them. Then there's another one that's like for the hardcore Spider-Man fans, which kind of tees up something for more sequels to come, but then it goes into crazy pants territory. But it's funny. If you like memes and if you like stuff, you'll enjoy it. But they're not absolutely necessary to stay for it. If you sat through the whole movie and drank your whole soda and you gotta take a pee, you can probably catch them on YouTube like a month from now. Like I said, one of the greatest Spider-Man movies so far. And I'm just happy to see where they go from here with the animated Spider-Man movies, because it's Spider-Verse is gonna be its own thing. Looks like we got the MCU Spider-Man here and the Venom-verse. They're gonna do that live action thing over there. And the Spider-Verse, which is just the animated version. So Sony is in a really good spot right now as far as their Spider-Man properties. They got all bases covered. Who would have thought after that amazing Spider-Man 2 that they would be in this position, but they are. Which is it's kind of cool. Kind of worrisome for seeing where the MCU Spider-Man goes from here into the future, but we'll see. And fuck it, if we get more movies like this Spider-Verse, to be honest, I don't know if we really need that many Marvel Spider-Man movies. And that's where I lost the audience. So if you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and drop a like. Got something to say? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. Follow us on Instagram, dropping loads, Ol Drunken Geek. Go ahead and check out other videos on this channel. We got Best Guy, we got Dorky, Wake Up. His show is awesome. Yeah, the gaming show. What the fuck else other show we got on this motherfucker? That's it? That's all the shows you got? What do I pay you for? What the cons? The What the Cons? You can catch me on some of the What the Cons. Fluctuating in weight and in beard size. My beard's weird. So yeah, man. Love you guys. Catch you guys next time. ODG out.